Okay, welcome to part 2. So far we've had a look at what our basic operators do, operators A, B, C, D, E and F, and those 6 operators are basically all exactly the same. There's nothing you can do with one of them that you can't do with the rest of them. If you know how to use one, you know how to use them all. Operators X and Z, however, are a little bit different. Operator X is a noise generator and saturator. If I right click it to turn it on and route it to our output, in fact I'm just going to go to the master page and turn the digital distortion down so that we're hearing the sound unadulterated. So we won't hear anything until I turn up this amp knob, the amplitude of our noise. There's a cut-off knob here to alter the cut-off frequency of the noise generator's low-pass filter. And resonance as well. And of course it's going through the saturator. This gain knob determines the level of the signal going into the saturator. And this level knob determines the level at which the sound is clipped. And this asymmetry knob offsets the symmetry of the saturator. So basically what it means is that negative gain values are clipped more than positive gain values. So we can get some quite interesting noises just messing about with operator X itself. And of course it's got the standard pan knob, level and velocity. Again, both amp mod and envelope we are going to talk about in future videos, so I'll leave those for now. But we can also distort other operators by routing them into operator X and thus through the saturator. So if I turn the noise down and re-establish the setup we had earlier, so E modulating F, E feeding back on itself, but rather than sending F to the output, I'm going to route F into the saturator. So that's pretty cool for distortion and for shaping our sound, but that's not where it ends, because we can also route operator X into other operators. If I turn this noise level up again, now the noise being generated by operator X is modulating the frequency of operator F. So you can get some really interesting sounds by messing about with that, and you could use it to modulate a modulator. So that's what operator X does. It's quite good sometimes for adding a kind of quick, noisy, percussive hit to the start of a sound. So that's what operator X does. Operator Z is a filter. In fact, it's two filters, and it can be either a low-pass filter, a bandpass filter, or a high-pass filter. It's unusual for FM synths to have filters. Yamaha's DX series didn't have any filters, and that's because you can use frequency modulation for tone control, rather than relying on filters for it. And I would suggest that when you're first kind of getting into FM8 and FM synthesis and stuff, you kind of avoid using the filter to begin with, because if you jump straight on the filters and start sort of treating it like a subtractive synth, I think, you can sort of potentially miss out on some of the amazing sounds that you can discover just by messing about with frequency modulation. So for the time being, we're going to leave operator Z alone, but we are going to cover this in great depth later on in the video on how to use FM8 as a subtractive synth. You may have noticed there's one last box on the FM matrix that we haven't talked about yet, and that is, of course, this in box. And that is not an operator, that is for routing an external audio signal into FM8, and we are going to cover that in a future video. In the next video though, we're going to look at envelopes. So I'll see you in a bit.